Welcome to another reading of Lord Mayhare. We're on page 2962. Title of the chapter is Mononash, and the year is 1951. As instructed, Pratap Ahir returned to Mahabaleshwar after a week. Baba was upstairs when he arrived and sent some of his own food for the boy with Vishnu. Pratap ate and was then summoned. Baba had just taken a bath. His hair was untied as he stood on the landing. Pratap recalled. Baba was standing with his hair flowing to his shoulders, with rays of sunlight falling on his face. Baba watched me as I approached the veranda. He was looking at me with so much compassion. I have never forgotten it. He looked radiant, as if light was coming out of his eyes. I never saw that look again. Baba beckoned to Pratap, who climbed the stairs, and Baba greeted him with kisses, embraced him, and gestured. You are very fortunate. I do not meet anyone in this new life. You have a very old connection with me. Baba led Pratap to a hall and made the boy sit close to him on a cot. On the alphabet board, very slowly, Baba spelled out questions about Pratap's parents, family, and school, commenting that Pratap's family, too, had a close connection with him. Every few minutes, Baba would kiss Pratap. Sitting next to Baba, the boy carefully watched Baba's fingers move on the alphabet board. It was surprising that he was able to read the board and follow what Baba conveyed. Suddenly, Baba asked Pratap to get up and stand about 10 feet away. Baba gestured for him to remove his clothing. Pratap remembers. For a fraction of a second, I was a little hesitant because I thought someone else might be looking. Baba reassured me that nobody else could see. Pratap obeyed Baba and removed all his clothes. Baba gestured for him to turn around and then immediately instructed him to put his clothes back on. When dressed, Pratap again sat near him. Baba asked him more questions and then spelled, My nazar is on you. Abstain from smoking, drinking, and illicit sexual relations. Baba would not like it if you indulge in such things. I am telling you this as your elder brother. Will you obey these instructions? I will, Pratap promised sincerely. After being given some other general orders and being with Baba alone for about 2 hours, Pratap came out. The servant companions were gathered outside. Baba held Pratap close and commented, I am very happy with this boy. I like him very much. He loves me. Baba joked, How many years have you all been with me? You are good for nothing. So many of you still can't read my board, whereas this boy just came this morning and he already reads my board. At that, Nilu made Baba laugh by remarking to Pratap in Marathi, Now Baba will prefer you, and you will deprive us of our daily bread. Pratap was served a good dinner, but when he saw what the companions were eating, he felt he should be given the same fare. The next day, Baba sent Pratap back to Pune with Padri. Pratap became a staunch lover of Baba. It was actually due to Gadakar's efforts, as he had brought Pratap and many other true seekers to the Lord's feet. In the happiest of moods, on Monday morning, 15 January 1951, Baba with Adi Sr., Erich, Pendu, and Baidul left Mahabaleshwar at 7 a.m. and headed south toward Hyderabad to contact musts. Adi drove them in his Chevrolet. Papa Jaswala met them briefly at the Pune railway station with a packed lunch. They arrived in Sholapur that afternoon, where tremendous crowds had gathered because of the Hindu religious fair Siddheshwar Mela. Although it took some time to pass through the throng of people, Baba was able to contact three musts. Baba continued his usual procedure of making certain the must was in an amiable mood, then laying his head at the must's feet and seeking his blessing, while Baidul uttered the invocation, "Pray that my elder brother may fulfill his spiritual objective." A local Baba lover named Rustam Nagarwala happened to see them and requested that Baba visit his home, where Baba had given darshan in 1943. Baba agreed to stop the car briefly, and Nagarwala's family and others met him there. After these contacts, Baba indicated that he wished to continue driving straight to Hyderabad, but left the decision to the men, who opined that arriving in Hyderabad late at night was not advisable. Baba began feeling dizzy also. Leaving Sholapur, they decided to stay the night at the Dock Bungalow in Zahirabad. Rested, they left the next morning, reaching Hyderabad at 11 a.m., where they stayed in the guest house at Usman Sagar. Because it would not be practical to stay in Mahabaleshwar during the monsoon season, the average annual rainfall is nearly 250 inches. And since the lease of the bungalow there would be terminated at the end of May, a search to rent bungalows in Hyderabad was made that day. A vigorous search for musts began the next morning, 17 January. That day, working until late evening in Hyderabad and Secunderabad, Baba contacted 24 musts. These musts willingly and gladly permitted Baba to contact them, and thus he worked under good auspices. Baba contacted several musts in a few hours, and such rapid contacts were the cause of Baba's being in a wonderful mood. However, there was a steady decline in the number of contacts in the afternoon and evening, and Baba commented that only a few of the musts were important to his work. In Secunderabad, the last of the musts would not give his blessing for the success of Baba's spiritual work, as Baba laid his head on the must's feet. For a long time, Baba was held captive by the must because the must would not give his blessing, and Baba could not raise his head. But with Pendu, Erich, and Baidul imploring him, the must's mood finally changed. Only after he uttered the blessing did Baba lift his head from his feet. The following morning, however, proved to have an unsatisfactory atmosphere for Baba's work. Their search for musts continued throughout Hyderabad, but not one new must could be found. Baba had indicated that he was in search of one important must called Shastri, or Shastri Bua, and not until late in the day was the must located in a hotel. Finally, the contact with Shastri was made to Baba's satisfaction. Again, after hours of searching, Baba contacted the most important must in Hyderabad, the great sixth plain must saint, Sayyid Muinuddin. However, he was a very fiery Jalali must and was difficult to approach. Finally, the saint welcomed Baba, and as Baba laid his head on the feet of Sayyid Muinuddin, the must bestowed his blessing. One other contact was with a goose-type must, that is, those who dismember their limbs, called Chaus. At the end of the day, Baba was very happy with the three contacts and remarked, although compared with yesterday, the number of contacts today is fewer, the result is far better. Today is, in a way, a better day because the contacts are so much more far-reaching. Again in the evening, Baba was out in search of musts and contacted 4 more. The total number of musts contacted in Hyderabad and Secunderabad was 31. This included several old musts whom Baba had contacted 6 years before, in 1945. Leaving Hyderabad the next morning, Friday, 19 January 1951, Baba arrived in Gulbarga, but failed to find the must he had especially come to see. So Baba paid his obeisance to the Dargah, the tomb of the Muslim saint known as Khwaja Sahib, and while returning, contacted another must. From Gulbarga, Baba proceeded to the village of Itkal, 12 miles away. Due to the bad condition of the country road, the car could not enter the village, so Baba and the men walked 1.5 miles to contact Swami Must. Baba indicated that the man was a very important must, and Baba was delighted that the must was so receptive to him and accepted his gift of sweets and clothing, which Baba had specifically brought with him for the must. Baba was in an exceptionally happy mood due to his great satisfaction with this contact. The must offered Baba some of the sweets, and Baba ate a little and distributed some to the Mandali also. They returned to Gulbarga at about 8 at night and drove on to the village of Aland. Baba contacted a Majzub there, and they then drove on to Naldurg, arriving at 2 a.m. Baba felt sleepy, and they stopped at a customs house where he slept for 2.5 hours. They left Naldurg at 4:30 a.m., reaching Pune in the afternoon. On the way from Sholapur to Pune, Baba contacted another must, bringing the total number of must contacts made during the journey to 38. Papa delivered a tiffin of food to them at the Pune railway station, and Baba went to see Sadashiv Patil at his house, at his home. They returned to Mahabaleshwar on the afternoon of the 20th, after driving 33 straight hours. The total distance covered during the 5 days of whirlwind traveling was estimated at 1,400 miles. Adi Sr. returned to Ahmednagar the next day. At the villages and towns where the Musks abided, Baba frequently had Adi Sr. park the car for a few moments, and the poor men, women, and children who approached the car were handed rupee coins. Arriving in Mahabaleshwar, he had the car stop so he could hand rupees 60 to two destitute women along the road. The car trip from Mahabaleshwar to Hyderabad and back was most satisfying, as Baba so often declared during the journey. Since the beginning of the new life, Baba had never appeared as happy and light-hearted as he was during this trip. It was, as he said, the most happy time during the new life because his must contacts were successful and conveniently made. After returning, Baba made plans for more must work, and Baidul was sent to Bombay in advance to look for new musts. Baba himself left Mahabaleshwar 5 days after Baidul, on the morning of Monday, 29 January 1951. Erich, Pendu, and Gustaji accompanied him. Along the way, between Mahabaleshwar and Pune, Baba had the car stopped, and he contacted a must in the village of Shivapur. Another stop, this one pre-planned, was made in Pune, where Baba had called a few old life disciples. Pilamai of Karachi and her daughter, Silla, had deep love for Baba. Up until 1947, she and Silla had been staying in Mehrabad. After that, both had returned to Karachi and later settled in Lahore. Before entering the new life, Baba had kept rupees 2,000 aside for Pilamai's maintenance, but she would not accept it. Since Pilamai refused the money for the sake of love, Baba decided to distribute this sum in the name of love to 7 deserving individuals of his old life, remarking, "Charity begins at home." Sidhu from Mehrabad, Bhagirath from Ahmednagar, and Bao Chima, Shankar, Chabu, Talia, and Bimbai from Arangaon were called to Pune. They met Baba at a spot near Arayaneshwar Mandir temple, near Thubi's bungalow, where Baba had stayed in 1949. Adi Sr. brought them, and Padri and Waman accompanied him. Bimbai and Talia were ill and could not come, so Baba used Sidhu as a proxy. Washing and placing his head on Sidhu's feet, Baba gave him rupees 400 for Talia, 300 for Bimbai, and 300 for Muhammad Must. Baba also handed rupees 500 to Bhagirath, rupees 200 to Chabu, rupees 100 to Bao Chima, and rupees 200 to Shankar, after washing each man's feet and bowing down to them. This comprised the rupees 2,000 that were originally intended for Pilamai. Waman then drove them back to Ahmednagar in Adi's car. Papa had brought food from Bindra House, and Baba was driven 7 miles away to a shady spot under some trees where he and the others enjoyed a picnic lunch. Pictures of Baba washing people's feet, bowing his head to them. Baba proceeded to Bombay with Pendu, Erich, Gustaji, Padri, and Adi Sr. Upon their arrival at Ashiana, Ramju Sarosh, Savak Kotwal, and Baba's brothers Adi Jr. and Jalbai joined them in Bombay to participate in the work. Baidul, as mentioned, had gone in advance and stayed at a hotel. At one point, Baba conveyed to Ramju, "My work that I have just finished in Hyderabad was most successful and absolutely to my complete satisfaction. That work there and the must work I have to now carry out in Bombay have 100% connection with the 100-day seclusion that I plan to enter shortly. If the Bombay must work also proves to be as good as that done in Hyderabad, no power can then thwart the success that I desire to achieve through the 100-day seclusion. If all that is fulfilled, I feel that there will be an end to all the problems." At Ashiana, Baba then Baba washed and bowed down to the feet of two needy Parsi families. He gave each family rupees 361. During Baba's week-long stay in Bombay, Nariman and Meherji were allowed to join him on his must work. Baba contacted 55 musts in Bombay. The total included several previously contacted musts and several new musts also. Baba would revisit a few important musts often, but would contact them only when they were found to be in a welcoming, pleasant mood. On some occasions, Baba would lay his head only once on the must's feet. At other times, he would bow down repeatedly, and while doing so, give some money to the must. The gift of money was a symbol of the contact, and when a must accepted the rupee coins and uttered some blessing, the contact was understood to be over or completed. An unusual incident occurred with one important must in his Bombay work. Baba communed with this must by placing his head on the must's feet 40 times. And after each time, when Baba raised his head, he handed the must a silver rupee coin. At one point, Baba conveyed to the men, "I feel that musts are dead to themselves and to the world. They are totally indifferent to the world, its happiness, sorrow, and comforts. They live in God, with God, and for God. They are unaffected by climatic conditions. insufficient food, and lack of sleep. They keep healthy despite being regularly deprived of the necessities of life. It is significant to note that Baba used the words, I feel, at the beginning of his statement. In the new life, Baba would never assert himself by spelling out, I tell you, or evince his knowledge of a certain situation by saying, this and this is so, etc. Instead, he would dictate, I feel, or I think this is true. Baba was not only doing his best to act out certain roles, but was also feeling identical to an ordinary man, as he repeatedly stated he now was in the new life. On Sunday, 4 February 1951, Baba paradoxically remarked to Ramju, it is natural for me in my new life to feel void of all that was natural for me to feel in my old life. In Mahim, a suburb of Bombay, a Jalali must struck Ramju twice with a ra'api, which is a small sickle. Bleeding above his left eye, Ramju was hurt and had to be taken to a hospital where he received stitches. Baba returned to Mahabaleshwar with Erich, Pendu, Baidul, and Gustaji on the 5th, after having completed his must contacts and work 100% to his satisfaction, as he had hoped. About the total of 93 musts that he had contacted in Hyderabad and Bombay, Baba commented, 1/5 of the musts were of the highest caliber, 2/5 were of high caliber, and 2/5 were God mad. Ramju, Padri, and Adi returned to Ahmednagar. Madho, the Mirzad caretaker, had to quit on some urgent personal matter. So in March 1951, Padri relocated there to watch over the property. Mino Karas happened to be visiting Bombay at this time, and he was permitted to see Baba briefly at Ashiana at 7 p.m. on 30 January. He was permitted to return on 3 February and join Baba and the Mandalay to attend the Great Royal Circus near the Marine Line station. They left Ashiana in 2 cars at 6 p.m., and Baba watched the entire 2.5-hour show. A thrilling new attraction was a high-wire motorcycle act. On Baba's return to Mahabaleshwar, urgent preparations were made for his seclusion. Padri had built a straw hut in the compound of the Aga Khan's bungalow. It was enclosed on all sides by bamboo matting, with a convenient entrance for Baba. Baba had received a telegram from Elizabeth about some difficulties involved in Baba's proposed visit to America that year. Therefore, Baba dropped the idea of traveling to America at this time and decided instead to shift headquarters to Hyderabad in June. This cable was sent to Elizabeth. Baba's plans are changed. Instead of leaving India for the West in July 1951, he will leave February 1952. Do not worry and rest assured that Baba wants to come and stay for 1 year. Meanwhile, Dr. Ghani was called to Mahabaleshwar for a week for the purpose of entertaining Baba with jokes and poetry before Baba entered seclusion. Ghani was sent this poetic summons. If you are well, if you feel swell, if you have not gone mad, or don't say you are sad, have no material loss from servant or from boss, not talk of old life or children or wife, but entertain me with jokes and poetry. Will pay both way fares, won't listen to your cares, then come for 8 days. So Meher Baba says, do not give me pain by asking material gain. Talk of spiritual benefit will give you gober, that's cow dung, and shit. In new life, no responsibility of reward, no possibility. In January 1951, Ghani mailed Baba this humorous response. Received your loving letter. I feel awfully better. Is India getting dry? It never looked to me wetter. There's a side note here that says Ghani is referring to Indian prohibition laws, which were in effect there then. 1,000, Ghani's poem. I'll start from the beginning again. Received your loving letter. I feel awfully better. Is India getting dry? It never looked to me wetter. 1,000 thoughts and whatnot. It looked almost a boycott. 12 months, no wink, no inkpot. I could not get the upshot. And Jal with dates a noting, with Gadakar drowned in doting, with Papa seemingly bloating, and Ramju meaningly gloating. This atmosphere, I was pretty sure, could not very long endure. De facto verdict for a cure could not ignore my stand de jour. Accepting all your orders will come for dates and numbers. On mind, no madness. Murders be damned, the cares and blunders, the cares and thunders, hoping there are no blunders. I remain yours forever. Signed, A.G. Munsif. Baba's reply. After carefully your letter noting, I feel like going a-boating. If any of my orders you break, your body on Ganges be floating. Ghani had been called to Mahabaleshwar on 8 February, but he fell ill. He was then instructed to come for 3 days from the 12th if he recovered. Baba wrote to him, "Well, cheer up, sonny. Think less of money and more of honey." Before beginning his seclusion in Mahabaleshwar, Baba said, "This seclusion, which is connected with my new life oath and the desired final result, will be unique. It will be a partial seclusion, and unlike the old life seclusions, I will not confine myself to a small room for the entire day." He then stated, "I will either emerge victorious in attaining new life living or die in the attempt." Baba held a meeting on Monday, 12 February 1951, with his servant companions. According to the Zoroastrian calendar, it was Baba's 57th birthday that day. But Baba permitted no celebration. At the meeting, Baba resolved the following decisions that were to be carried out by himself and the companions during his 100-day seclusion. All the men are to continue to stay with Baba as Baba's servants until June 10, 1951. From February 12, 1951 onwards, all servants are made free from the bindings of all the conditions of the new life, except that they all must obey the following standing orders. 1. Not to do lustful actions. 2. Not to create circumstances so that they invite homage to Baba. 3. Not to have any sort of contact or correspondence with the old life disciples of Baba. 4. Not to exchange clothes between themselves. 5. Not to accept money or food from anyone, but may accept tea, cigarettes, or pawn from anyone. 6. To remind Baba when he promises anything to anyone, speaks ill of anyone, takes any false step, shows his greatness, gets excited, or doubts his servants. 7. To obey day-to-day orders 100%. 8. To try their utmost to act so as to make Baba feel satisfied. As age observed, in the new life, Baba played the part of a devotee or seeker, and at the same time of a spiritual master. In the role of the seeker, human weaknesses and drawbacks were evident. And in that of a master, his authority to issue orders to his servants to be completely obeyed was manifest. Baba bowed down to the servant companions that day, and Padri photographed it. Padri returned to Ahmednagar 2 days later. Photographs of Baba with folded hands in front of his eyes, and another photograph bowing down. And the caption says, Mahabaleshwar, 12 February 1951. The picture with Baba's folded hands in front of his eyes is captioned, "Praying for Forgiveness," with Erich in the corner, Erich in pajamas. And the right side photograph is Baba bowing down to Donkin with Nilu, Murli, Vishnu, and Pendu in the background. On Tuesday, 13 February 1951, a singer named Bala Kawal sang Kawalis before Baba. Later that day, Baba informed his servant companions, "I want to do very hard work for 40 days. From March 7, according to circumstances, I may work either in total darkness or in complete light, for which 2 Petromax lanterns have been purchased." As Kaikobad was doing his repetition of Baba's name during Baba's explanation, Baba asked him caustically, "Have I called you here to go on and on with your repetition, or to listen to what I am saying? Servants should discard their inclinations and pleasure. Then alone can they be true servants." Here's a colorized picture. I think it's colorized because it's 1951, 13 February 1951, enjoying a kawali. At 7:30 that evening, when Baba entered the hut to begin his 100-day seclusion, the following prayer was offered. "O God Most High, grant guidance to Baba and lift up his heart with your love. O Christ, the everlasting truth, that he may live the new life with faithfulness to the end. May the work of these 100 days of seclusion be fulfilled to Baba's entire satisfaction. And may the desire of his heart come to pass and the aim of his new life be achieved. Grant that his body be sound and healthy during this seclusion, and give strength to him to bear whatever suffering may befall him. Grant, O most merciful God, that these desires of Baba be fulfilled through the grace of thy Son, Jesus Christ, our Lord." The next day, 14 February 1951, Baba stated, "There is a possibility of my getting apoplexy due to the severe strain of the work in this seclusion, similar to that which I got in a milder form on Angiras Rishi Mountain in Madhya Pradesh in 1945. Baba divided his seclusion of 100 days into 2 phases. The first 40 days were as follows. From 13 to 28 February, Baba spent the days in the cabin, the hut, and the compound, staying inside the hut from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. The space was enclosed on all sides so that he was not visible. Erich, Pendu, Baidul, Nilu, and Murli were on watch. From 13 February for 7 days, Baba fasted on only water, after which he partially fasted by eating only once a day. From 15 February to 5 March, Baba worked with the Must Ali Shah daily for half an hour from 11:30 until noon. March 1 to 5 was indicated by Baba to be the most serious phase of the seclusion, when Baba worked mostly in the hut until 2 a.m. During this period of 5 days, Baba would work in absolute darkness for the first few hours of his seclusion, and the rest in the bright glare of the Petromax lanterns. He would rise at 10 a.m. and after washing and drinking tea, begin his work with Ali Shah. Baba visited the women each afternoon. Again, from 6 to 9 March, Baba fasted on water whenever he was in the hut or cabin. During this seclusion period, Don received a telegram from London informing him that his mother was seriously ill. He did not tell anyone about it, and it appeared his usual congenial self. No one else knew of it, and even if they had, no one would have told Baba. Don also did not wish to inform Baba. On one occasion, Baba sent for him, and in the course of conversation asked him, "Is there any news from home?" Whenever Don received mail from his family in England, according to the conditions of the new life, he did not open it. But in this instance, he did not know who had cabled him, and so had read the telegram. He was worried that he had inadvertently broken Baba's order. After remaining quiet for a few moments in answer to Baba's question, Don said, "Yes, news has come from home." He could not tell a lie, so he acknowledged his mistake and told about his mother. Baba directed him to pack a suitcase and start for London immediately. On 5 March 1951, Don left for Bombay and from there flew to London 2 days later. He returned to Mahabaleshwar after a short visit. From 10 to 12 March, Baba's seclusion work intensified. He fasted on only liquids, spending the entire 3 days and nights alone, either in the hut or the cabin. For 11 days, from 13 to 24 March, Baba continued his seclusion as before, taking food once in 24 hours. In the hut, he was engrossed in his work for a full hour at night, half an hour in total darkness, half an hour in bright light. During Baba's seclusion, the Korean War escalated, and the world witnessed some of the most grueling and cruelest fighting in American and Asian history. Baba suffered intensely during his seclusion in Mahabaleshwar. One day he suddenly burst out of the enclosure. His face was drained of color. He was panting and extremely agitated. "Today I worked so hard that I had to come out momentarily," he said. "Otherwise I might have dropped my body." The Mandli remembered his words the previous month that he might become apoplectic. In addition, his hemorrhoids and a fissure were painfully inflamed. He was he was also passing a lot of blood in his stools. Baba sat for hours in seclusion, despite his painful condition. And though his body suffered, the work did not. He never allowed his body to prevent him from fulfilling his duty to the universe. To lighten his mood, Baba appointed a committee to suggest treatment for his troubles, which he humorously dubbed the Piles Committee. The members were Sadashiv Patil, Vital Bokr, Gadakar, Ghani, Nariman, and Meherji. The men were briefed daily about Baba's health, and Meherji and Ghani took the most interest. When they were asked their opinion, Sadashiv and Vital suggested pulverizing the bark of a certain tree and making it into a poultice. This was tried, but it increased Baba's suffering. Mona, would you care to read? Unmute first from the
Yes,
second paragraph.
yep. Finally, with Baba's consent, on 18th March 1951, Adi Senior got a physician from Bombay named Dr. Merchant. Dr. Merchant was highly impressed with Baba and prescribed a specific treatment of injections near his rectum and cauterization, which was done using current from Adi's car battery. He refused to accept any fee, but as praised, Baba paid him 1 rupee. Sorry, but as prasad, that is prasad means as a. Do you all know what prasad means?
It's a gift from the divine being that
Yeah.
that gives
Um.
spiritual benefit.
Yeah. Or it also means prasad means, when you go to a temple and they give you a sweet in return, or in the church they would give you something to eat. That is prasad, like something holy to eat and blessed. Yeah. Baba paid him 1 rupee, informing him that his service was invaluable, as was Baba's gift. The treatment, however, did not alleviate Baba's pain by much. Meherwan Jasawala sent an air cushion for Baba from Pune the next day. After the first part of his 40-day seclusion was over, on Saturday, 24th March 1951, Baba on called an hour-long meeting at the seclusion hut. But Sarosh, Ramju, Adi Junior, Adi Senior, Meherji, Nariman, along with the resident Mandali, Erich, Pandu, Vishnu, etc., were summoned. He began by asking Erich to read passages from the Gita. He then stated, I am trying to think, to feel, and act truthfully and honestly. The new life which I have adopted, as I have to be honest to my new life. I am totally indifferent as to what the servants, the arrangement walas, and the old life disciples and devotees, and all those directly and indirectly connected with me, even those who are not connected with me, think and feel about it. I am not concerned whether they or others have rigidity. Sorry, rightly understood it or not. I'm really sorry. Please forgive me for the mistakes. I'm having a little blurred vision right now.
Yeah,
Out of
no
the hun-
problem. Mm.
Out of the 100 days seclusion that began on 13th February 1951, the main work was achieved during the first 40 days. which were crucial and important. Without the help of God, I could not have gone through the ordeal successfully, considering my usual changing temperament and the physical and mental strain that I suffered during this period. It was as if God wanted to prove his help to me by giving me suffering as well as the strength to endure it. Yeah.
You muted
Yeah, yeah.
yourself.
I also feel that the prayers and the invocations dictated by me are and offered on my behalf by the servants have been accepted by God. The remaining 60 days will not be very difficult for me to live through with God's help. I can adjust the activities and the place of work according to my convenience. I consider it my good fortune that the servants, the arrangement walas, the old life disciples and devotees, and all those directly or indirectly connected with me have stood by me in my new life, regardless of whether they like it or not. In view of the fact that they've stood by me, and in view of the fact that my 100-day seclusion is likely to be accomplished to my entire satisfaction, and that I feel God also will entirely be will also be entirely satisfied with it. I have, God knows, the honest conviction that during the period between the 10th June and the 30th June 1951, God will, out of His infinite wisdom and grace, make me take a step which will bring about an extraordinary revolutionary change in my life and in the lives of the servants, the arrangement walas, uh, and the old life disciples and devotees. So basically, arrangement walas means, people who make the arrangements. Walas is an Indian term they use, and all these directly and indirectly connected with me. This change will take place in accordance with what and how God wills it. I feel I will not be able to, in any way, to, sorry, I feel I will not be able in any way to avoid the step that God has ordained for me and the life that God will make me live. I also feel that I do not know how, what, and how much the effect of it will all be on me and on others. Bef- Before the 100-day seclusion had begun, Baba expressed his desire to sit for some time in seclusion at top of the seven hills surrounding Pune, and also to continue the must work. Adi Senior, Eric's younger brother Meherwan, and Gaudekar began looking for accommodation for Baba in Pune. One was rented in Salisbury Park, but at the last moment the owner changed his mind. Sarosh and Adi scrambled to arrange two other bungalows, one near the racetrack and one at Vanovri. Driven by Erich, Baba departed Mahabaleshwar with the five women for Pune on Tuesday, 27th March 1951. Baidul went separately. Baba and the women first visited the Ganesh Kind Botanical Garden, where Erich's cousin, Dad Kerawala, was in charge of plant experimentation at the horticulture research station there. Seeing Baba from a distance, Dadi entered and exhibition building located uh, at the garden because, according to orders, no one was to meet Baba. Baba, however, also entered the building with his face turned away. Dad stood to one side. Baba left shortly without speaking to him. Baba and the women then went to see the bungalows that had been arranged. Though they didn't like the Vanwari house much, Baba agreed to stay there for 2 days. Before moving to the other bungalow, their meals were to be sent to the Bindra house. Gadekar had meanwhile managed to procure the Maharani Shanta Devi of Baroda's palatial bungalow, Guru Prasad, at 24 Band Garden Road, with the help of Sardar M.A. Raste. Footnote: Lord Meher, page 2974. Guru Prasad was previously called Habib Hall. It has been built in the years early 1900s by a wealthy Muhammadan Hussain Ahmad Ibrahim, grandson of Karim Ibrahim. In 1929, it was sold to Leelavati Patwardhan, the Rani of Jamkhandi, who may have acquired the property as a part of her dowry. The Rani, means the queen, kept a special wooden charpoy. Charpoy means like a carpet or a doormat, wooden doormat or a mat, in one of the bedrooms for her guru, who stayed there apparently. Thus, the palace was rechristened as Guru Prasad. So, since a guru stayed there, they named the place as Guru Prasad. The property was sold to Maharani of Baroda in 1950. Sardar Raste was related to the wealthy and influential Peshawar ruling family of Pune. Rasapet, a neighborhood in Pune, is named after Sardar Raste. Gadekar received this. Uh, I'm trying to figure out where I am right now while I'm reading. Can you help? Can you get the page down a bit because I can't see that blue line top. It's not, I can't read it because I can't see it. Yeah, can you come down a bit more? Okay. Okay. Do I read from the
Um, from the bottom line, Gadekar
Yeah,
received this
yeah,
information.
yeah. Okay, thanks. Gadikar received this information in a telegram on 27th March and immediately delivered the cable to Bindra House. Mehrwan sent the telegram to Baba along with his lunch that day because he himself was also forbidden to meet him. At this time, Baba was not seeing anyone, including Jaisawala family at the Bindra house or his brother Behram's family. All were eager to meet him, but no one would disobey his wish. On receiving the news about the availability of the Guru Prasad bungalow, Baba went to see it, liked it immediately, and with the women moved there the same day at 3 p.m. Erich, Vaidul, and Adi Senior stayed in the quarters at the back, where Pendu also joined them. Mehrwan was in college at the time studying for his Bachelor of Science degree. The day of his final examination was approaching, and while searching for bungalows, he had no time to study. As a reward for this success, In finding a suitable residence, Baba made a exception to his ban on visitors and sent for Papa, Mehran, and Gadekar. Mehran had not seen Baba for more than a year. He was shocked by Baba's condition. I had never seen Baba so physically depleted. He was in a terrible state, so thin and frail, and that his neck was like a chicken's, and he had to be supported to walk because of piles. Though he could not even sit, and for the duration of our visit, Baba stood. Footnote: from his childhood, Baba suffered digestion problems. The hemorrhoids were not only due to his delicate digestive system but also due to the prolonged fast during his seclusions and his irregular diet during the numerous mosque tours. He was totally emaciated, yet the smile he gave to greet us was his usual one, and he embraced us. Footnote: Villa page, the divine humanity of Meher Baba Foundation, Australia, 2002, Volume 1, page 30. Hmm. Baba expressed his pleasure at the procurement of Guru Prasad and then asked Merwan, where is your exam? Next page. In a few days, he replied, will you pass us Baba? Of course, Merwan assured him. Erish replied, he has not studied at all, Baba. He is not at the time. So how can he pass? Therefore, Baba ordered Merwan, all right, now start studying. Only 4 or 5 days were left, but Merwan concentrated and passed his final exam. The Thade family resided in Pune, although the three brothers, Lakshmikant, Kisan, and Narendra, had met Baba. The mother and sister had not. One day, while they were walking along the road, looking at Guru Prasad and knowing Baba was inside, Baba suddenly came out on the veranda, enabling the whole family to see him from a distance. On 30th March, Baba sat in seclusion at these five different locations in Pune. In the Pat- Patleshwar cave near Jangli Maharaj temple, at a spot near Chatur Chaturshringi temple, by the side of a tomb near the temple, near the Parsi Tower of Silence, and near a Christian cemetery. During each brief seclusion, Erich, Pendu, and Baidul carried a white sheet, spread it over the place where Baba was to sit, and kept watch. On Sunday, 1st April 1951, Baba went to Baba house, where his brother Behram and his family were residing. There, Baba entered the room where, after being unveiled by Baba Jan, he used to knock his head on the stone floor. As instructed beforehand, Behram and his family were in another part of the house. As an added precaution that no one should see him, the three servant companions held up a white sheet to shield Baba as he walked to his room. After the seclusion work in the room, Baba left without meeting any of the family, any classes. The This was the sixth place of seclusion. On 6th April, with the women, uh, on 6th April, with the women, Baba proceeded in Adi's senior's car to Atandi, about 20 miles outside of Pune, to the tomb and temple of Sadguru Dhaneshwar. Footnote: born in the 13th century, Dhaneshwar was, according to Baba, the youngest Sadguru ever to have lived. He was in his teens when he became perfect. Before he was 20, he had the disciples bury him alive at Alandi. Dhaneshwar is considered the supreme interpreter of the Gita. Until his time, the Gita had been read only in Sanskrit, but in a state of divine inspiration and illumination, he wrote the entire book in Marathi. Marathi is the language of Maharashtrians who live in Maharashtra in India. After sitting in seclusion at Dhyaneshwara shrine for some time, Baba was driven back to Pune. Besides doing seclusion work at the seven places, Baba also contacted a few masks in Pune. On the 7th, Baba returned to Mahabaleshwar with the entire group, including Naja, where his seclusion continued. On the way to Mahabaleshwar, Adi stopped the car briefly at Bindra House to pick up the lunch. It was the first time since the start of the new life that Gaima and her daughter Manu had seen Baba. Papa Jaisawala had seen Baba at the Mahabaleshwar meeting the year before and the Merwan recently at Guru Prasad.
Very nice. We'll begin here at 2976 next week. Thanks for coming. And I'll stop the recording.